Hey friends, it's Nathan. I'm here down in my basement on one of the absolute coldest days that I've ever experienced as the polar vortex made its way across the country. I can't even explain that one, but it's just been absolutely frigid. So I just wanted to take a moment and share something with you guys. You know, this fall, my job with Young Life took an awesome turn, and it's given me the opportunity to rethink about some things and to refocus my energies. And one of the things I'm doing is reaching out to folks. You know, maybe you came through Young Life here locally in Syracuse, or maybe we were friends from back in Buffalo, or maybe you actually still live here in town, but we just haven't been able to meet to get you updated. I want to get everybody that's kind of really important to me on board with what this has meant for us, and to make sure that you guys are updated. For those of you guys who I haven't seen for a while, this is a picture of me and the Tammy and the boys. Tanner and Jonathan are now. Tanner will be turning 13 next week. Jonathan is still 10. They're incredible kids. They make our lives easy. Actually, Tanner, don't worry, he's not actually that tall. He's standing on a rock. That's out west from this summer. But as we go through this transition with Young Life, I just wanted to make sure you knew it's kind of an awesome time, because in some ways, the actual direct ministry, the kid work we'll have, is starting to really bubble up through the relationships we have with Tanner and Jonathan and their friends and the families that are there. And for the most part, a lot of our direct ministry occurs out of our house. This is where we live. Some of you may have been here or maybe not, but 113 Ambergate Road. And we lived here for the last 11 years. And it's just been a great neighborhood for us. It's an incredible number of kids in our little neighborhood have been able to go with us to a Young Life camp or be a part of campaigners or been with us at Wildlife Camp. And Tanner and Jonathan are right in the mix of that. And so for the next probably 8 years, as we run through with Tanner and Jonathan, that'll probably be the center place of most of our direct work with kids. That picture on the left there is a wildlife weekend at Lake Champion last year, a group from Syracuse, and Tanner and his buddies are in the mix right there. I got to lead this fall 17 middle school kids, 7th and 8th graders from JD Middle School at Saranac. It was an unbelievable weekend, as you could well imagine. But been here now with Young Life in Syracuse for 18 years, and it has been an incredible run, an incredible opportunity. Young Life has experienced steady and I think phenomenal growth over that time. And Mike Terranova started this area in 1988, 89, and we quickly got out to 3 or 4 high schools, and there have just been moments of growth across the decades, and we've got it up to anywhere between 18 to 19, 20 ministries right now across Syracuse and up to Oswego, and we believe that we'll be starting some new ones here in 2014. Some great legwork has happened, and we project that that's going to grow even more by 2020. That at some point here we're going to hit the 30 ministry mark, whether that be clubs or areas or new things that start. We're just really excited and we're geared up for what God is doing. Because of all that potential, this fall we made a great decision to change my role in terms of Syracuse East and Urban and kind of the whole central New York geography. That picture down on the bottom right is our college leaders that meet at our house every other Sunday for dinner and for leadership. Some of you guys have been a part of that. And as I've been able to sink my teeth into that group of kids and the staff that are around that, we've just been able to see more growth in terms of reaching more kids in the schools we're in and expanding to serving more communities around Syracuse. And the top left there is a picture, you'll see it again later, of me with some college and high school guys up in the Adirondacks. Some of you guys maybe did La Vida back in the day, and we're starting a new experience I'll tell you about later. But really what I've learned is that my gifts and my strengths are around vision and around starting new things, around creating community, around things like the college kids and young adults, and setting a vision for more people to start reaching out to people in new ways. As we've been able to grow, we've never lost sight of these core communities, these 9 communities where we've had Young Life for such a long time, and so much of our strength comes from these places. And we're just thrilled to know that our staff that serve in these communities, and these are the pictures of the staff you're looking at right now, are the best people possible that we could have there. They give their lives every day to reaching kids and families in those communities, and they're still being cared for. As we talk later about what my job change is, about half my time is given to nurturing and caring and supporting for these staff, and it is an absolute blessing for me, especially to work with the area directors or to be involved with the training. that's going around Syracuse. It's an absolute thrill and a privilege. These guys are the type of people that I'm happy to give my life to because they mean so much to me and they've become so dear to me. At the same time, the last 5 to 10 years, we've been able to grow and start ministry in these new communities like Fabius Pompey and Baldwinsville and a place like Weedsport. And of course, we've done a lot in the city of Syracuse and had a lot of different venues and a lot of different things going on there. As we look forward to 2014 and beyond, what's been happening is that our phone has been ringing off the hook, or I could actually say more correctly, my email inbox had been flooded with calls from Cortland and new things in the city of Syracuse, CNS and Owego down near Binghamton and up to Fort Drum and over to Utica and Auburn to the west. And we decided this fall to take a risk and to change my job to allow me to begin to address some of these growth opportunities and to begin to expand and to reach out to these new places. So starting in September 2013, I'm no longer the area director of Syracuse East and Urban, the good old NY24. That's a picture from our camp trip down to Rockbridge in July 2003. And that camp trip was significant because Mike Terranova was moving, and we had hired Kelly Hyatt to really sink her teeth into JDCBA. I moved over to FM as a leader. We brought Carlos and Christine on board in an incredible way. And we had a great run through that time. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second because my dog came into the room and she was barking. Listen, so starting in 2013, I'm no longer the area director. And we were looking at this picture and just thinking about the run that we had under the staff structure we had. But now we have new staff in place that are ready to do a great job taking this area to the next level and allowing me to serve throughout Syracuse and the whole central New York geography to reach more kids in new places. And so I have a new job. I started this really September 1st, where about half my time is given over to supervising those Syracuse staff that you saw and pouring myself into the leadership here and to developing both the quality and the nurturing the health of our training and our area directors. About 40% of my time will be given over to starting new work, and that's what I'm going to update you with here really quick. And then about 10% is given over to just being a resource to Young Life. I kind of have two unique areas of maybe you'd say expertise. One is working with the Catholic Church, and the other is the work that we've been doing in Central America. And so I'm leaving some time open to Young Life as I can be a help to other people in the Northeast and around the country. As we talk about growing in that 40% piece, I just wanted to share these stories with you because they're so exciting. And especially if you're a person who came through Syracuse, you'll be thrilled to hear what's happening. First, this fall we started a wildlife club down at Cortland. You'll see some of you guys know Melissa Case and Sam DiCarlo there who came through FM in Chittenango. And that's a little picture from their little Christmas club. And we have great potential there. SUNY Cortland's a huge campus, so we have the opportunity. We've developed a solid leadership team. Kid work has started. And our vision is to start that as a new Young Life area, hopefully in 2014. The Brady Faith Center, some of you guys know about this place on the south side of Syracuse. Right in the dregs. The Brady Faith Center is ground zero in terms of a community that's impoverished and issues with domestic violence, drug abuse, drug selling, and we've been able to hire this January Emmanuel Flowers, the man you see there in the purple shirt, on a part-time basis because he was part-time with Brady Faith, and as we increase his hours, he'll be able to do more work with those kids that you see in front of their building there. We've built a great friendship, and we have high hopes that as we can even expand Emmanuel's hours and develop the leadership core of kids, that we're going to literally keep kids out of gangs. The kids that are attracted to Brady Faith will be attracted to Christ, and as they're attracted to Christ, they're going to avoid the pitfalls that is the storyline of so many kids from that community. And so we are absolutely thrilled to be partnering with Brady Faith and to see this opportunity transformation. I want to take a minute and tell you about the Building Men program. I met a friend through a connection named Joe Horan, and we're becoming close friends. Joe's a gym teacher who loves Christ at a high school here, Hughes Middle School here in Syracuse. He took over an intramural program years ago and transformed it into something called Building Men. He now has relationships through Building Men with about 300 kids. And those kids are experiencing success in life in incredible, incredible ways. we're going to partner, hopefully together, starting in the spring of 2014, to where Young Life will come alongside of his programming, and he'll be able to offer some spiritual content to what he does, and expose those kids to some of our summer camping opportunities. And it's just going to be an incredible way to bless Joe and the Building Men program as he sinks his teeth into one of the biggest problems that we have in our society, which is inner city males. And he's just an incredible guy doing incredible things. YL2C is our outreach that we started 2 years ago through some incredible circumstances to the 700 kids or boys who spend at least one night in the Justice Center, 14 to 18 years old, who sleep in the Justice Center every year, downtown Syracuse. These are boys that are in there for small crimes all the way up to major homicides. And every Thursday for 90 minutes, a Young Life staff and a volunteer go in and have a Bible study and share time with the boys and then pray for them and talk with them. I don't have time today, but I could tell you incredible stories of kids coming to Christ, lives being changed, and actually the entire facility being touched by the ways that kids now from inside the facility are loving Christ and are making incredible decisions. Of course, Young Lives, we're celebrating because we've been consistent since 2006. We're starting our 7th year of reaching out to pregnant and teenage mothers in the city. Sarah Coward, the young woman there on the left, who's a mother of her own, is our new Young Lives coordinator. And while we do celebrate incredible success stories, girls that have gone on and finished their high school, girls who have gone on through college, girls who are now married or homeowners or successful, we also are burdened because there are so many kids who struggle still through that and don't make it through this crisis period in their life. But our vision is to continue to be there and to continue to be a part of the solution in a small way for these kids. And, of course, the babies that mean so much to us and to the Lord. This summer we did something new called the Summer Guest Services. We hired 4 college kids. We raised money through foundations, and we're able to hire 4 of our alumni through Young Life and their Young Life leaders to support inner city work and for agencies that are doing work in the city. 2 of the interns work there on the Summer Servants Camp, and that's our picture from the bottom left. Those are kids that experienced the Summer Servants Camp in July. It's something that's put on by the Brady Faith Center. But Young Life and local churches have partnered with them to attract those kids. They spend an entire week giving up their time working in the city and helping out the residents and agencies. And so we provided, through the foundations, 2 guest services. These are 2 college kids that were behind the scenes to help run the camp. And this summer, in 2014, we're hoping to repeat that and maybe expand it. And actually, we're going to double the Summer Servants Camp and just increase the blessing in the city. CNS High School has been on our target range for a long time. There are over 700 kids per class in that high school, if you can imagine it. And we finally connected this fall with 6 teachers who are working towards a winter 2014 kickoff. We actually just had a snow tubing night back in late December that attracted some kids from CNS at a little tubing hill here as we look to try to get our first group of kids to Saranac this summer. It's a great school community. There's a lot of strengths there, and we've never been able to break into that community before. But can you imagine the impact of having Young Life come alongside people who love Christ in a school with 700 kids per class? The impact could be phenomenal. Late in October, we were reached out to by the director of religious ed at Fort Drum. And so Ben Titus, who's now he's an old Young Life JD kid who's now the area director in Oswego, he and I headed up there for a couple meetings. We've met at this point with the head chaplain, who's a colonel, and the DRE, and some other people who volunteer in youth ministry. And we learned that there are literally thousands of middle school and high school kids who live on that base. If you look at the map there to the bottom left, the yellow is actually the map of Watertown. The pink is the base. And I had no appreciation for how enormous that facility is. As we met and talked about the difficulty that high school and middle school kids face living in a facility like that, I kind of lost my breath too as they talked about all the dads and moms going on deployment here in January. So even as we listen to this or read about what's happening, these families are being disrupted as an entire division moves out to Afghanistan for the year. And so we're going to commit to doing whatever we can to work with the officers and the families up there to begin a Young Life ministry. And we're praying that kids will be picked up by our buses and head over to Saranac this summer to join with us at camp. As I mentioned before, we started a Young Life Wilderness experience this summer. You know, as much as you hear about kids being on Facebook and texting and using social media, we've learned that they long for and desire to be really disconnected from that stuff. And so we were able to purchase some gear and began trips this summer. We're building a little base camp out of Saranac, and we're taking kids out into the woods and had great experiences with that in the summer. And we're going to expand that outreach here in 2014. If you don't know about what's happened with Young Life in El Salvador, we don't have time here to tell you, but back in 2007, we started taking kids, well, really 2006, we started taking kids to rural El Salvador. And we partnered with Holy Cross along the way, and things have just exploded. That's a picture from last winter. We're now involved with Young Life in Rochester and Young Life in Buffalo North and Buffalo South, and we'll take over 150 kids there in February. I can't even tell you about how many incredible things have happened in our kids' lives, but also in those villages as a result of our work there with clean water and clinics and building projects and now irrigation. As a result of our work there, we were able to hire Enrique Martinez to start Young Life in San Salvador, reaching out to gang kids. And actually, as a result of this model being so successful, Young Life asked me to take a group from Ohio over to Haiti to support the 12 Young Life staff people that we have there. So I'll be traveling to Haiti in March of 2014 to try to bring this model to the Haitians and to Young Life there. It's a little humbling and a little overwhelming to have the Lord bring so much fruitfulness to something that was just an idea. We're going to, in Syracuse here, this February, we'll take our 500th person to rural El Salvador, and it's just creating an incredible legacy. In the left is Enrique Martinez. I mentioned him before. He is our Young Life National Director for El Salvador, and he's one of my good friends and a personal hero of mine. But on the right, we're motivated even more powerfully by the children that we continue to see in the rural areas of El Salvador. These are, in many ways, the poorest of the poor. And for us, they've become important to us. They've become our friends. They've become our family. And we love them. And so we continue to go and to spend ourselves on their behalf, at least until we're told not to. You know, people are curious about how all this happens. And, you know, one of the things that happened in this transition is that I broke free financially from NY24, from Syracuse Easton Urban. I now have my own funky number. I'm AG351, which is sort of like a Star Wars droid. But while I have my own Young Life number, my first goal is to make sure that we stay stable for all the staff here in 2014. And even as we grow a little bit this year, we need to make sure that everybody's needs are being met. The community here in Syracuse has been incredibly generous to us over these last 18 years and has just gone every step of the way with us to support us. And we're confident that even as we grow here in 2014, that our needs and the needs of everyone will continue to be met. But starting in 2014, and especially over the summer and the fall, I'm going to be shifting to really trying to raise funds that would not only take care of my portion of the budget, but to really begin to bless new communities like Cortland or Fort Drum or CNS or in the city of Syracuse, El Salvador, or with our Young Life Wilderness expansion. The goal it's not audacious, it's not outrageous, it's just the idea that as people connect with me and are supportive of what this vision is, we're going to be able to be a blessing to so many other new communities. You know, our base east side in city Syracuse has been running about $325,000, and that has been incredible to keep at that level, given all the ministry that's happening. I did some reflection, and since I did some research, and since I became the area director in 2000, God's given us, through our donors, about $3.6 million, and you can see we've spent about $3.6 million. We're $603 short for 13 or 14 years, and that's a great run. God's faithfulness is beyond compare. You can't outgive him. You can't outdream him. And while we've had some moments that were rocky and required a lot of faith, he has been with us every step of the way. And so all the credit goes to him. And as we look forward to new visions, we have reason for faith. He's provided for us, and he will continue to. So in 2014, I have a modest dream of raising about $35,000 extra. And to be honest with you, friends, a lot of this is already committed, whether it's through foundations or people we've already talked to. And so we're moving forward in faith because we know that what God has already given us an indication that we can take some good steps here. If I did hit the full package of 35,000, we'd probably look to move to start that area in Cortland and maybe hire a student staff. We'd move forward with Joe Horan on teacher staff, and I would probably bless some more people in Haiti with getting down there and covering their costs. And so, we have small but ambitious goals for 2014. Looking out to the future, between 2014 and 2020, I think that our future vision it's not outrageous. I think that one day we'll be looking to have an extra $200,000 raised. A lot of this will come from these places. People from Fort Drum or CNS or Utica, they'll pay one day for the ministry that they have. But along the way, I'm looking to encourage them with the first fruits and to give and be generous and to help those new communities begin to capture this vision. I was asked recently where my motivation comes from or what's the source of my zeal. And I reflected on this passage from Isaiah 58. And I think if you haven't read Isaiah 58, it might be a great thing to think about and meditate on for 2014. And within that chapter, Isaiah talks about what does it mean to have a true fast. And one of the phrases he says is that you should spend yourself on behalf of the hungry. And for me, I think of that in two ways. I think of the spiritual hungry. Living here at 113 Ambergate Road in the JD School District, we're still filled all around us with people who are spiritually hungry. Some days I myself continue to feel spiritually hungry, but for the most part, we give ourselves and we spend ourselves on behalf of those who are hungry. Middle school and high school kids, families that need the love of Christ. And so I'm motivated. I can intensely remember what it was like to be hungry spiritually. And I'm so grateful to God that He's fed me. And I know that you guys feel the same way. But I also think about spending myself on behalf of the hungry, and especially as Isaiah talked about that, it's literal. There are hungry people. 10 minutes from my house over the hill on Colvin Avenue are hungry kids. And tonight, in the middle of this polar vortex, the Oxford Inn in the city of Syracuse, run by Catholic Charities, 10 minutes from my house will be full of 250 men who are hungry. And so whether it be spiritual or literal, my motivation is to spend my life, to spend my family's life on behalf of those who are hungry in the name of the Lord. That picture is, somebody captured that with me down in El Salvador, talking to our kids. And I know that I'm most alive in my life when we share the gospel in the context of reaching out to those who are in the most need. But you know what? We're not just motivated by the needs of others. We're motivated by the legacy and the fruit of Christ. This is a picture that was taken at Saranac Village about a year and a half ago. We had leadership weekend for our region, and we just asked anybody who had been associated with Young Life in Syracuse to step outside for a quick picture. And whether they were a leader now or had come through on committee one day or were a kid or a leader or whatever their connection was, just to take a picture. And we were blown away because it was about a third of the camp. And we realized that, gosh, if every one of these kids or any one of these people here in this picture is running after just 20 people a year to share the gospel, or 10 or 5, can you imagine the legacy and the impact? We've had 25 years of incredible ministry here in Syracuse, and so we're motivated by those who are hungry and giving our lives to them, but we're motivated by the great fruit that God's given us. And we're looking for more. We believe that we're in that period where it's fruit upon fruit, or goodness upon goodness. And we're looking to capitalize on what the Lord is doing. So where do you fit in? Guys, I know this is incredibly awkward for me to do over a video or over a PowerPoint, but I couldn't go any longer with this change without letting you know about what was happening. So number one, I'd like to ask you to let me to update you on my progress so you can pray for it. Now, I'll probably just do something about every 2 months by email. I'll just send you some pictures and some crazy stories because God is doing incredible things. I'd love to, number two, have you join me in something that's going on. If you have a talent or expertise or a connection or a relative or somebody in any of those communities, just get in touch with me. And number three, I'd love to have you support me by giving financially to this vision for Central New York. Some of you guys are just getting out of college and you may not have any money yet, and that's okay. And some of you guys might be more successful, and maybe you could help me out. My vision is to be generous. My hope is that as my family's needs are met, and we are able to use money to bless those who are in the most need of blessing, whether it's in the city of Syracuse or a place like Haiti or in a place like Fort Drum, where it's just dark to be a teenager there right now. We want to bring light into those communities. And so I would just cherish any of the support that you could offer to that vision. I want to thank you just for taking the time. I know this is about 25 minutes, and I know, again, this is not the best way possible to reach out to you. You know, this is a picture taken at Saranac Village, the welcome of middle school kids, I think 2 years ago now, for our wildlife trip. There's about 100 kids there, 7th and 8th graders mainly. Can you imagine the impact that it'll have on those kids' lives in high school and then in college, that they were at least for 1 week exposed to the love of Christ through a leader, through a speaker, through a great camp? Can you imagine the impact every year as more and more kids in Central New York get to hear about Christ and how much He loves them? And so I just want to thank you for just considering, this transition for me, for considering these kids, for remembering maybe for a moment what it was like for yourself to be in 7th grade or 10th grade, or the moment that somebody told you about how much Jesus loves you. What I plan on doing now is, actually I'm headed down to El Salvador to get our trip ready in February, but I'll reach back out to you guys via email when I get back, and follow up with you guys throughout the winter and spring. And if I get the chance to be with you face-to-face, I know that would be the best, all right? But for now, I just wanted to say thank you, and Happy New Year, and all the blessings in the world.